Hello everyone, and thank you for taking the time to review the Santa Clara County, California real estate market analysis for October 2008. My name is Robert Whitelaw, and I'm a licensed real estate broker in the state of California. I'm also a member of the National Association of Realtors and a certified ePro, and I'm also the president and CEO of Whitelaw & Sons Real Estate Services, serving all of Silicon Valley. Now let's go ahead and jump in and take a look at the supply and demand numbers. Now we're starting off with the inventory statistics for Santa Clara County. Now you can see that was the solds number. The blue bar is solds number. Red is the homes that were listed, and the brown bar is going to show us the homes currently on the inventory. Now if you take a look at those sales numbers, you can see that we have seen a little bit of an increase from 2007 to 2008. The majority of that can be accounted for by folks taking advantage of the short sales and foreclosures that are currently on the market. And also just an update for those of you listening to this video presentation at my website at www.soldbyrobert.com. I now have a new feature where you can view all short sales and foreclosures on a map interface. It's very nice if you're interested in those kinds of potential opportunities. Just go to my website, go to search for a home or home search, and you will see a menu option there for foreclosures and short sales. Just zoom in on the area you like, and the homes will show up as little pins in the map exactly where they're located. It's very handy. It lets you focus in on geographic locations you think are interesting, so take advantage of that if you get the time. Now, sales from last year, in October from 2007 to 2008, are actually up 41.9%. That's pretty respectable. That gave us a grand total of 816 homes sold in Santa Clara County in October of 2008. That was an increase of 241 homes. So we sold 241 more homes in October of 2008 than 2007. So that's good. I mean, anything that helps us reduce the inventory is a good thing. But as you can see, we are now back into a position where we're seeing absolutely consistent, steady growth in the inventory for the month of October, going all the way back to 2004. Now, is this different? Is this a change? Yes, it is. In previous months, we were seeing the amount of increase per month decreasing. So in other words, we weren't seeing the inventory numbers actually dropping, but we were seeing the trend of the increase slowing. So in other words, you can pretty much draw a straight line from the inventory, the top of the inventory bar to the top of the inventory bar of 2008 to 2004. It shows very steady, very predictable growth, and that's not a good thing. We don't want a lot of growth in the inventory numbers. In previous months, earlier this year, we were seeing that wasn't a straight line anymore. It had done some dramatic increasing over the last couple of years, but over the last year or two, we actually saw that number not increasing as much as we had seen as a percentage of the total. What I basically think has happened is that the economic crash that we've seen over the last 30 days has sort of reset the market from what was almost an encouraging sign of recovery state to now full-blown back where it was as far as negative effect on the real estate market in general. Now, new listings, those increased not quite as much as some other numbers. That's a good thing that it didn't increase as much. It's not good news that it increased at all. It actually increased by 7.8% from the same time last year. That gave us 1,871 homes total that were listed in the month of October of 2008. That's an increase of 135 homes from the same time last year. So we listed 135 more homes in October of 2008 than October of 2007. Now, inventory numbers. And of course, as you can see, record-setting numbers here going all the way back to 1999. Inventory is up 16.7%. The total homes for sale, and man, I see this number and it is just staggering. 5,783 homes are currently on the market in Santa Clara County. That's just mind-boggling. That's an increase of nearly 1,000 homes from the same time last year. 826 more homes are on the market this year in October of 2008 than at the same time last year. It's absolutely amazing. Now, as we always do, we compare the number of homes that are sold to the total inventory to sort of come up with a ratio that'll give us a little bit more insight into the market. Now, there's two ways of looking at this number. One is the total months of inventory. So if we took the inventory numbers and froze them as we are, froze the sales numbers, it gives us an idea of how long it would take us to sell off the entire inventory that we currently have. Now, if we do the math on that, that gives us 7.08 months worth of inventory currently on the market. Another way of thinking of that number, though, is that for every one home that sells, there's about 7 on the market. So that number has actually been worse. The increased sales numbers has actually gotten that down into the range it's at now. But last month it was at 6.4. So we've definitely seen an increase in the ratio between the number of homes that are selling and the number of homes that are currently on the market. And that's generally not good news. Now, during this time of year, we would normally expect not so great numbers as we head into winter, but we're working under some completely different influences right now this winter. Normally, we wouldn't expect to see some of the increases in sales that we've seen. We're seeing an artificial increase there just because of the number of homes that are currently being sold in short sale and foreclosure circumstances. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the same numbers just over the past months. This is going back to July of last year. We're going to use this to try and look for any trends. Again, I know in previous shows I've liked to use this as a way to sort of anticipate where we're going, see if we're following into the same kind of trends that we did last year. But the change in the market over the last 30 days because of the economic downfall that we've experienced has been so dramatic that I'm hesitant to use any data from a year ago to try and anticipate where we are or where we're going. Now, as I mentioned last time, October is the first month that we're seeing any real influences from the downturn in the market. November will be the final month where we see all of the numbers play out relating to either new transactions that occurred right when the market was crashing or escrow, things that went into escrow after the crash. So next month will be also very interesting to look at. But if we just take a look at where we're at right now, we're actually looking back into the summer months, doing fairly well. Now, inventory numbers haven't really gone up that much. Solds did decline a little bit between September and October. Solds actually decreased 9.5%. So we sold 86 fewer homes in October than we did in September. That's not horrible. Now, listings, we actually saw a dip in the number of homes that were listed. It was down 1%. So 19 fewer homes were listed in the month of October than the month of September. And inventory change, inventory actually only went up by 0.1%. Stayed relatively flat. That's an increase of 7 homes. So the inventory actually only increased 7 homes at this time around. And if we look, and again, we're looking at last year's numbers. I'm hesitant to do that really. We're seeing a lot of opposite behavior here. Between July, August, September, October, we saw a big drop in the number of homes that were selling in September and October. Didn't see that this year. And again, we're getting a big influence from the number of amazing deals folks are able to get. A lot of folks are buying homes at prices that haven't been seen in an awfully long time. Just to sort of calibrate you, home prices are hovering right around the 2004 mark. So if you're someone who bought your home before 2004 or in 2004, you're probably still okay on what you paid versus what you can sell your home for. If you're someone who bought after that point, odds are you currently you couldn't sell the home currently for what you bought it for. Now that's just generally speaking. Obviously, there's submarkets all through the county that'll be a little different than that. But in general, that's what we're talking about. The general numbers for Santa Clara County. That's the situation we find ourselves in. Now, if we look at try to look at some trends here, we're coming out of summer where inventory sort of boosted. We've had really flat sales, frankly, since June. The amount of homes added to the inventory stayed relatively flat with a little bit of a boost in July. Now, is there any way to anticipate where we're going to go in the coming months? Well, if last month is a guide, and frankly, I don't think it's a very reliable one, we would expect to see inventory numbers decline a little bit. What I would expect to see is that we continue to see prolonged strength in the number of homes getting sold just because of the amount of homes that are out there that are short sales and foreclosure properties. The reality is I think a lot of folks are seeing this as an opportunity to really get a good deal on a property. And I think that's in general true. We've talked about where the market's going in the long term here before, and I think that our projections about things possibly turning around in 2009 are going to be delayed by at least 6 months to a year because of the downturn we saw in the last 30 days. But again, as we get further into winter and as we start to emerge into 2009, that we'll get some better numbers to sort of gauge where we might be going. But right now, things are so much in flux, I hesitate to use any of these numbers to really give you at least try to give you a view of where we're going in the long term. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at home prices. we can take a look at everything going back to 1999, and this is going to, just as it was last month, this is going to be a bit of a shocker for everyone. The average change, the change from last year, home prices are down on average in Santa Clara County 34.7%. That is a dollar change of $365,626. Now again, remember, this is the average for the entire county. Lots of little submarkets in the county, but this is a good general indicator of where we are. Now, the average sales price in Santa Clara County for the month of October in 2008 was $687,857. And there's just no two ways of getting around it. That is a shocking drop, and this is where I'm coming to my conclusions about where we are. Now, notice we're actually seeing numbers. This number is actually between 2003 and 2004. So, average home prices were a little higher in 2004 than they are now. In 2003, they were a little less, but not a whole lot less than they are now. Now, the highest priced home in Santa Clara County was on Country Club Parkway in San Jose, and that was at the Silver Creek Country Club. And that sold for $3,750,000. It was originally listed for $3,999,000. That was not a short sale property or foreclosure. That was a mainstream sale. The lowest price home was a bank-owned property, so that was a foreclosure sale. That was on Geraldine Court in San Jose. If I'm not mistaken, that's relatively close to Story Road. That was bank-owned, and it sold for $173,000. That's right, $173,000 in San Jose, a single-family residential home that was originally listed for $155,900, so it sold over asking. But in looking at that property, that was literally pretty much just buying the dirt that the home was on. So pretty amazing deals to be had for folks out there who are looking at foreclosures and short sales. And if you're interested in any of these in specific areas, I can set you up with a mailing list for those so you can see them on a regular basis. And keep in mind that the new feature on my website is actually updated regularly all day. So it is going to be the absolute latest info on short sales and foreclosures that you can get anywhere without paying for it. And there are lots of folks out there charging for that kind of access to that information. Now, if we look at the home prices just in recent months, this chart really is going to tell a very clear story. We are seeing a steady decline in the average sales price, and we're going to see a little bit bigger of a dip here as we get into September and October. And keep in mind that those September numbers are by and large before there was any before any big dip in the market. So in other words, we didn't see the stock market getting hit. We weren't seeing the unbelievable collapse that we saw in October in both of these sets of numbers. So we're seeing these drops independent of that. My suspicion is that we will see further drops in average sales price. Will we see another year-to-year drop of nearly 35%? I have my doubts, but as we get down here, it's getting pretty amazing at how far these prices will go as far as the downward trend is concerned. Now, the change from last month between September and October, we had an average price drop of 8.3%. In dollar value, that's $62,502. Let's go ahead now and review the total days on market for homes in Santa Clara County. Now, these numbers are all very valid. We have a very big sampling this month, so we're not seeing any artificially high numbers. For the average home in the average location in Santa Clara County, you're going to be seeing about 79 days on the market. That is an increase of 43.6% from the same time last year, or an increase of almost a month, 24 days in the total time it takes to get a home sold in the month of October of 2008 versus October of 2007. So, and as I said, there are submarkets all throughout, but even in very robust markets where in a lot of cases you'd see numbers like this, but it was really being skewed by just a small handful of properties that have been in the market for an exceptionally long time. We're starting to see this become a much more rock solid average number, this 79, this 80 days, this 60 days. It's becoming a far more the rule rather than the exception on a lot of these houses. This is a good calibration thing to have in mind. And keep in mind, this is just for the homes that are selling. This isn't data on how many days on the market properties that are on the market or in inventory have been on. These are just the ones that sold. So if you're someone out there who's thinking about selling your home, don't think this is going to be my chance of getting how long it's going to take me to get my home sold. you need to even get to the point where you even get into an escrow, and that is the real true challenge in today's market. So if you're not focusing on being the absolute best property in your price range and achieving that goal, your house isn't going to sell. That's really the bottom line. A lot of the attention that buyers are spending on this market are not going to mainstream sales. They're not going to the average seller putting their home on the market. It's going primarily to short sales and foreclosures. I know at least I'd wager of the contacts I get from folks right now, 80 to 90% are running towards people just interested in foreclosures and short sales. So calibrate yourself to that. And make sure that, and then for those mainstream homes that are trying to get sold, you simply have to be the best home in your price range as far as features and price point are concerned. So I hope that you folks can manage that. All of you out there looking to buy, you've got some great opportunities here. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the days on market for recent months. Again, the trend here is pretty unmistakable. And of course, we're going to see some seasonal influences here. You'll see a nice little boost there in January, which is fairly normal. As soon as we head into winter, it usually takes a little bit longer to get homes sold. So many things, again, are in flux right now because of the change in the marketplace. There's no way for us to anticipate where things are going to go from here, just because there are so many more things in play than were in play at the same time last year. Now, we actually had a decrease in the average days on market in October when compared to September. It was down 9.2%. That's an 8-day difference from one to the other. Not much to hang your hat on there. I think if you just go back to October of last year, October of this year, and sort of see the general trend from one to the other, and taking into account the season of winter between, it's a pretty straight line. It's been a very regular increase in the days on market. I would look at that number probably staying at least about the same, going up a bit more. We really just have to get these inventory numbers down. We're relatively flat now, as you've seen, but we're not going to see a big change here until the number of homes that are selling and the total inventory get a little bit more into equilibrium. Now, I do appreciate you taking the time to come out and listen to what I have to say on these topics. I hope this market analysis has been helpful for you. If you'd like to look at any of my other market analysis work, or my YouTube videos, or any of my weekly podcasts, or any of the articles I've written on real estate, you can find all of those at www.soldbyrobert.com. And don't forget, you can now also find my full list or full search tool for all foreclosures and short sales. Now remember, that's not just limited to the area I serve. Feel free to take a look at short sales and foreclosures all the way from San Francisco all the way down to Monterey. When you first come up, the map will be sort of centered on Silicon Valley, but you can zoom out, drag the map, and zoom in on communities that you're interested in and get all the information that you need. So feel free to use that tool whenever you like. No requirement for you to provide your email address, phone number, or anything. It's just there for you to use, and if it helps you out, you're welcome. And if you'd like to get in contact with me, ask me any questions, make any suggestions, observations, whatever, feel free to send those to robert@soldbyrobert.com. Or if you'd like to give me a phone call, feel free to dial 408-852-0525. Be happy to discuss anything you're interested in talking about. And if you would like to contact me online using AOL Instant Messenger, Google Talk, or Yahoo IM, just use the screen name The Rebel Broker. And in addition, I'm also up on Skype. If you prefer to use Skype, just use Rebel Broker without the at the beginning, and you'll find me that way. And finally, referrals are always appreciated. If you or anyone you know is interested in real estate in the Silicon Valley area, please feel free to give me a call. Or if you're interested in real estate anywhere in the United States, give me a call. I can track down the absolute best agents out there to help you with your real estate needs. Just give me a call. Let me know what you're looking for, what kind of investment or kind of purchase, whatever you're interested in accomplishing, and I will find the best agent available in that area for you. Thanks again, and I look forward to talking to y'all next time.